I didn't keep it when I had the chance, so that was just some pretty shocking decisions by me. But
What seemed like a straightforward race for Max Verstappen turned into a real battle against McLaren drivers Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. We had intense duels from the first lap, with Norris trying to surprise Verstappen and Piastri proving he's an up-and-coming talent. Besides the exciting battles, Verstappen faced technical issues that almost compromised his victory, while McLaren showed unexpected strength. And it didn't stop there. We also had off-track drama involving Jos Verstappen and Christian Horner, adding an extra layer of tension to the weekend. Want to know how these battles, technical challenges, and all the behind-the-scenes drama unfolded? Stay tuned, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a thing, and let's dive in. Max Verstappen clinched victory in the sprint race at the Austrian GP, but it wasn't easy. Right from the start, he had to fend off pressure from the McLaren cars, especially Lando Norris, who tried to surprise the Dutchman on several occasions. Verstappen mentioned a clipping issue on the radio, which reduced his speed on the straights. Nevertheless, he managed to maintain the lead and win the race, once again showing why he's one of the best drivers on the grid. The race started frenetically, with Piastri and Norris battling each other while Verstappen tried to pull away. The internal battle within McLaren allowed Verstappen to breathe a bit, but he still had to work hard to stay ahead. In the end, his skill and the Red Bull car's capabilities prevailed, securing him another victory. McLaren delivered an impressive performance in the sprint race at the Austrian GP, with Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris showing that the Woking-based team is on the right track. Piastri, in particular, managed to stay close to Verstappen in the early laps, using DRS to not let the Dutchman escape. However, Verstappen's pace eventually proved superior, and Piastri had to settle for second place. Lando Norris had a more complicated race. He managed to surprise Verstappen on lap 5, but left the door open on the next corner, allowing Verstappen to retake the lead. This error also gave Piastri the chance to pass Norris, placing the Briton in third. Norris was critical of his own performance, calling his overtaking attempt amateurish and lamenting the missed opportunity. Despite this, Norris highlighted the McLaren car's strength, especially at the end of the race. He and Piastri managed to secure a good amount of points for the team, which is a positive sign for the future. Norris's self-criticism shows his commitment to improving and fighting for better results in upcoming races. Besides the battle between Verstappen and the McLaren drivers, other drivers also had notable performances in the sprint race at the Austrian GP. George Russell from Mercedes maintained his starting position and finished in fourth place, showing consistency and skill throughout the race. Russell managed to overtake Carlos Sainz in the early laps, but then had to settle for defending his position against Ferrari's attacks. Carlos Sainz from Ferrari also delivered a solid performance, finishing in fifth place. Sainz started strong, overtaking George Russell initially, but was later overtaken again by the Mercedes driver. Ferrari showed good pace, but still not enough to challenge the leaders. Lewis Hamilton, another Mercedes driver, finished in sixth place. Hamilton had a relatively calm race without major incidents or intense battles, maintaining his starting position until the end. Charles Leclerc from Ferrari was one of the standout performers of the race. Leclerc started outside the points, but managed a series of impressive overtakes, climbing several positions and finishing in seventh place. He showed determination and skill by passing drivers like Sergio Perez from Red Bull, who had a tougher race, finishing in eighth. During the sprint race at the Austrian GP, some drivers faced technical and strategic challenges that influenced their performances. Max Verstappen, for example, reported a clipping issue on the team radio, which affected his speed on the straights. This problem was exacerbated by the use of DRS by the McLaren drivers, allowing them to close in more easily. Verstappen explained that once the McLaren drivers were out of DRS range, he could manage his car better and regain a more comfortable pace. The race also had an unusual situation at the start when the first start was aborted due to photographers being beyond the safety barriers at turn 1. This caused a delay and reduced the race from 23 to 22 laps. Such interruptions can affect the driver's concentration and the team's strategies. The sprint race at the Austrian GP was also marked by off-track controversy involving Jos Verstappen, Max Verstappen's father, and Christian Horner, Red Bull's team principal. The dispute began when Jos accused Horner of blocking his plans to drive the 2012 RB8 car, which was driven by Sebastian Vettel to the world title, in a Legends parade at the Red Bull Ring. Jos Verstappen decided to withdraw from the event after this situation, creating tensions within the team. Max Verstappen commented that this situation was unpleasant for him, his father, Christian Horner, and the team. He explained that his father was invited to drive the car for the Dutch fans, but later found out he was not welcome. Max understood his father's frustration, but emphasized that his focus is on performance on the track and maintaining good relationships with everyone in the team. After the sprint race at the Austrian GP, several drivers shared their reflections and expectations for the main race. Max Verstappen highlighted that despite the victory, he had to work hard to stay ahead of the McLaren drivers. He mentioned that the initial battles were exciting, but once out of the DRS zone, he could run his own race more comfortably. Verstappen also commented that there are lessons to be learned and that Sunday's race will be longer and more challenging, especially regarding tire wear. Lando Norris was quite self-critical, calling his move to overtake Verstappen amateurish. He acknowledged that he should have defended his position better, but highlighted the McLaren car's strength and the good amount of points they secured in the sprint. Norris is confident that he and Piastri can give Verstappen a run for his money in the main race and hopes to improve his performance. Oscar Piastri, on the other hand, had mixed feelings about his second place. He was happy to have finished one position higher than he started, but felt he could have done more in the second half of the race. Piastri highlighted that Verstappen's pace was superior, but is optimistic about McLaren's chances in Sunday's race. Other drivers like George Russell, Carlos Sainz, and Lewis Hamilton maintained a positive outlook on their performances and are looking forward to the main race. Russell commented on Mercedes' consistency, while Sainz and Hamilton spoke about the importance of continuing to adjust their strategies to compete with the leaders. The sprint race at the Austrian GP was full of excitement, technical challenges, and even off-track drama. Max Verstappen showed why he's one of the best, overcoming issues and pressure from McLaren to secure victory. Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris demonstrated McLaren's rising form, while drivers like George Russell, Carlos Sainz, and Charles Leclerc also had solid performances. Expectations are high for the main race. Can Verstappen maintain his dominance, or will McLaren, Mercedes, or Ferrari rise to the challenge? Stay tuned, subscribe for more F1 analyses and updates, and leave your thoughts on the upcoming race in the comments. See you next time.